रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Bhakti yoga in a sense, Bhakti yoga in a sense is understanding that we don't understand. And not only do we not understand, we cannot understand. There's a vast ocean of ignorance that surrounds us. And there is very little we can do about it. And when we recognize this vast ocean of ignorance, in which we are sort of afloat, we begin to feel, what do we feel?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Why are we feeling gratitude?
Despite not knowing so much, things are going fine.
Isn't that so true in life? Just think about it. You are in this ocean. Okay, you don't know what is aage piche, you don't know anything. And yet your life is going smooth. And if you say, no, my life is not going smooth, You don't know what it means to not have life going smooth. Whatever you're currently going through is a smooth life. It's the best case scenario in this ocean of darkness in which we have to travel. Suppose something goes wrong with your stomach, you know what to do about it. Everyone says, "Oh, you teach us so well, thank you so much." So easy for one to say, oh, I'm such a great teacher. Really? All it takes is for one bacillus to get into your throat and all your teaching comes to a halt. What are you talking about? What onus, what responsibility can we take? One tiny bacterium, which you cannot even see with your eyes, is enough to fell you, and then nothing can be done. You're just helpless. In this kind of world, we are managing to survive and surviving well, all of us. An incredible thing. So, first and foremost comes the recognition of this ocean of ignorance. Secondly, the great gratitude that things are about as good as they could be, considering the fact that I'm too dumb to be able to do anything. And thirdly, is the recognition of the oneness. It's not me alone that is being taken care of. Everybody. All of us. Constantly. No, I don't know if you heard the news. There was, there was a report that excited everybody that there was a huge solar flare, almost like one piece of the sun coming out. Not a piece of the sun coming out, but that's how they described it. It was like a huge solar flare. We are next door to this giant burning thing on whom we depend for life, and he needs to get angry one time, and we are just ashes. And we have stayed in his company for now many generations. One solar flare will throw this one thing has to hit Earth. It will throw everything out. And yet it hasn't. For the 4 million years that this planet has been there. So Earth, we are protected, Earth is protected. What about Mercury? What about Mars? Also protected. Whole thing is going on in this great cycle. So once you recognize this, the result of it is a feeling of oneness. We're all in this boat together. In a vast ocean of ignorance, we are in one boat, all of us together. This boat can topple anytime. What are we fighting with one another for? We're not going to last here very long. It takes one wave, and all of us are at the bottom of the ocean. All this is going on. Jupiter protects us from giant asteroids, yes. Jupiter is protecting us, everybody's protecting us, and we are all blissfully unaware and living our life and saying, oh no, today's dal had less salt in it. Today's dal has less salt in it. Let Jupiter go for a walk, then you see what happens about your dal. And all of us are being protected. So we begin to feel a sense of togetherness, a sense of oneness. And that oneness, when we reach, blessed day, when we reach such a oneness, this is the crux of Bhakti Yoga. just feeling that oneness with everybody. No divisions, no demarcations in our capacity of identification with one another. Your problem is my problem. Your joys are my joys. Your sorrows are my sorrows. That complete feeling of we are all in this together. I remember that old song we used to sing. Not we used to sing, it used to come. Deep Raj won't know of it. Naim, you know that old song? It used to be an ad for something. I'm seeing in which generation, up to which generation. Naim, your generation, did you all hear this song? We're all in it together for the fun of it. Did you all hear this song?
I'm not familiar with it.
See, all these kids now, they don't know anything. How do we tell them anything? All these youngsters, they don't know. Who knows? Meera, you know? Whoever agrees to know this song, automatically.
We are all in the old generation.
Automatically date ourselves. Yes, it was a lovely song. It was a lovely notion. We're all in this together for the fun of it, for the joy of it. Now let's get that joy. No, here we are all sitting and crying. What are we crying for? I can't understand. And yet somehow we are all crying. We can have so much fun. We could do so much good work. And yet somehow it's all exhaustion. You look at anybody, they look completely exhausted. What are we exhausted about? So the yogas, all three yogas, help to flower the personality, to blossom it out, to find the joy, to find the fun in everything. It's always a pleasure to be with spiritual people because most of it is just a comedy show. It's so much fun to be with them. It's so objective about everything. Not a fake objectivity, but a real objectivity. We also try to be objective, but we do it at the wrong time, wrong place. We get it wrong. But they are genuinely objective. So whatever they say sounds very funny. You should read the question. No, don't do this. But if you ever have finished your Vedanta study, not finished, you're comfortable with your Vedanta studies, you may like to read the question answer of Ramana Maharishi. If you read it, it's sort of crazy in the sense that you'll actually feel like laughing. Here's a person who'll ask a 2-page long question, and Ramana Maharishi will give the most sensible answer in 2 words. You really feel like laughing. Here's this person who's so complicated and confused something so much. And he's dealt with it like in a couple of words. Finished. Next question. He's the only person where the questions are longer than the answers. And it's actually funny. If you read also Socrates, the dialogues of Plato, it's actually funny how it sounds, because here is this person comes with all this complication and they sort it out. So when you unearth that joy within yourself, that objectivity. So he says the real test of, we're about to read the real test of whether you're doing a bhakti yoga or not is, finally it boils down to one thing. It is
The feeling of oneness.
the feeling of oneness. How much do you identify with everybody? Bottom line. Do we have that poem here? Ah, yes, we have it here. So I will not tell you now. We will do it when it comes. All right, all good so far. Anyone has a question? All right, who will read the next paragraph?
I can read. To attain God realization, a devotee must qualify himself with sterling qualities. The Bhagavad Gita, in its 12th chapter, verses 13 to 20, enumerates 35 divine qualities that constitute a true devotee. For a detailed study, you may go through the author's commentary on the Gita. However, a brief statement of those qualities is given below for hates no being, friendly, compassionate, not possessive, free from egoism, balanced in pleasure or pain, forgiving, ever content, uniting with self-controlled, of firm conviction, mind and intellect, dedicated to self, who does not agitate the world, who is not agitated by the world, free from joy, envy, fear, anxiety, free from want, pure, dexterous, unconcerned, untroubled, not arrogating any activity as one's own, neither rejoices, hates, grieves, desires, balanced in pleasant or unpleasant happenings, alike to friend, foe, heat, cold, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor, free from attachment, equal to censure, praise, silent, content with anything, free from possessions, firm-minded, endued with faith, regards self as supreme. So the this paragraph just enumerates the qualities that a bhakta should have according to the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, yes. True bhakti is this list, 35 qualities. 35 qualities. You have just read them. Is there any mention of any of the things that we think is bhakti? Worshipping your God, going to a temple or church or mosque, singing bhajans, chanting, and any of this? And yet we all have our own belief of what is bhakti yoga. And you'll notice here, for all the jnanis who are always looking down on the poor bhaktas, please notice that he's mentioned intellect also. Not like the bhakta has no intellect only. So, let's go. You want to do them? It'll take a long time if we have to cover 35 qualities. You want to do them or we move on?
Let's do them.
Do them. It will take some time, okay? I mean, we'll do them shortly, of course, in brief, but Ashia, why would you say? You have heard 35 qualities 35 times so far. So why are you asking for it? Has everybody heard 35 qualities? Everybody has heard it? Who is not yet heard 35 qualities? We'll do it short. We won't do the long version, but how many? Manish, okay, not heard. How many people have not heard? Priya. Ashia, elaborately. Then many months will go on this. 9, no, okay. So mostly no, is it? Okay, understood. And the one person who has heard it is happy to hear it again. So, all right, then let us do it. First quality of the bhakta. Hates no big. 1 plus. Who's 1 plus? Today there's so few in class. Why don't you put on the video so I can see you all? And I know that somebody's there to listen. Otherwise, I am talking unnecessarily. He's listening, okay. Who is 1 plus? 1 plus 5G. Plus 5G, who are you? Who's 1 plus 5G? Okay. All right. Nice. I feel like I'm in a real class now. People to look at. All right. So 35 qualities of a bhakta. The first quality. Adveshta sarva bhutanam. Adveshta. Dvesha. Dvesha means, comes from dvi, two. So you have no sense of two. In other words, you have a oneness. So na dvesha, no hatred. No hatred for any being. First quality of a bhakta is no hatred for any being. Amazing, no? No hatred for any being. And please notice he says no being. He doesn't say no human. So that includes our feelings towards a mosquito, a scorpion, the whole lot. No hatred for any being. When you're not well and you know that this, this bacteria has infected your system, what do you feel towards that illness? No hatred for any being. No, at one time, we all fall ill, we get this cough and cold, and somehow I seem to be particularly susceptible to these things. And because I have many students, they all give me many remedies. And so I have like a cupboard full of remedies for every cough and cold situation, and I take them all. So I have no idea now which of them work and which don't, but I take them all in the hope of avoiding this thing. Now, this little bacteria, which causes us so much trouble, stops your work, prevents you from doing stuff, prevents you from doing the service you'd like to do. It's horrible bacteria. Why do you have to come to me? Once I heard a naturopath speak, and that was a very interesting sort of talk I heard. And he said that we don't fall ill because the bacteria comes into our system. According to the naturopaths, there are some toxins in our system, and these bacteria come into our system to clean them out. Wasn't that a lovely way of looking at it? Some mess in your system, and then the bacteria comes there like a scavenger, trying to clean it out for you, getting rid of all that dirt. So that's a very interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? Rather than thinking of an enemy in your system, you look at it as someone who has come, who has something that has come to clean up, to get rid of the toxins. He says, why will the scavenger come if there was no dirt? So there is some dirt, so it's removing it. Isn't that a lovely way of looking at it? You can feel oneness with anybody, anytime, anywhere. The restriction is not in the quality of the other. The restriction is in our quality. We have to ask ourselves this question: is my love something which is it a prize that people have to win from me? Or is it a gift I give freely? And how would I like it from others? We all want to be loved, right? But why then are we so miserly in giving it? We don't want to love anybody. We want everybody to love us. How does that work? The feeling of oneness. When I lack, it is the lack of
Love.
Yeah, that's the feeling of oneness. When I lack it, it is the lack where? Where is this?
Of giving.
Oneness.
Yeah, oneness is what I lack, but that lack comes out of what?
Of giving.
Devotion.
Seeing otherness.
It's a lack of devotion. It's a lack of my quality. The moment I have hatred for a single thing, it shows a lack in me, not a lack in that other thing, whatever it be. When Ajmal Kasab came into this city and shot everybody down ruthlessly and inhumanly, you know how he did it? People are just walking on the streets, going home from work or whatever. Shoot everybody down. And if our identification cannot include him, the lack is in us, not in him. You may say, what? How can you say that? He did so much harm to us. So is it a business you're doing? That you love only those who give you something? Is this a business deal? No, it's not a business deal. But based on what you do, I do. You give me 3, 5, 10 rupees, I give you a Colgate toothpaste. Not a business deal. Love is a gift freely given. So what is it? It is the feeling of oneness we have with everybody, as opposed to liking those who do something for us. When I only like my family, my friends, my co-sadhaks, if I only like these people, then know that my liking is not pure. Now, why is it not pure? Think carefully. If I like X and I don't like Y, if I can love X but not love Y, isn't there a reason why I'm loving X and not Y? It has to be, right? Because I'm making a difference. So what is the reason I'm loving X and not Y? Because I'm getting something from X, which I'm not getting from Y. And should this X stop giving me that thing, I will hate him. Have you seen divorce? It's a terrible sight when you see two people on the verge of divorce. All this love that they have claimed is now bitterness, resentment, hatred. And if you've not seen it, don't worry, it's reported in the papers. You can read it. What they say about each other. From, oh my God, I can't live without you, to my God, you're the most horrible person I've ever met. You're worse than Ajmal Kasab. You're horrible. From where to where? So when I like X, but I don't like Y, I love X, but I don't love Y, what is the reason? I'm getting something from X, which I'm not getting from Y. So when I claim to love X, who am I really loving?
Myself.
Myself.
Only, no? As long as you do me good, I love you. But when you do not satisfy me, either physically or emotionally or intellectually, I will dump you. I will wish you are dead. I will throw you myself into the sea. What love is that? So, love is love when it is not based on how the other person behaves. Are you able to maintain your love no matter what the other person does? If so, that is love. If not, it is
Attachment.
Business.
yes,
No attachment.
attachment. Yes, it's a business. Attachment is business. I love you, and therefore you should do all these things for me. Array, what logic is there in that? I love you means I will do these things for you, no? I love you, so therefore you have to do these things. That's a bit odd. You claim love, you do, no? The other person claims love, let him worry about his own affairs. So, hates no being. And now later on, somewhere, where is it? If you look down, he says, free from attachment. That's the other side. Free from attachment. For how much love do we have? See, it's very difficult to tell how much love we have. Because 9 out of 10 times, everybody is doing everything for us. Are your parents not doing everything for you? Is your spouse not doing everything for you? Children are behaving fine, everybody's behaving fine, and neighbors are not troubling you, in office things are going well. More or less widely, 80-90%, everybody is doing what they should be doing. How will you know whether you have love in your heart or not? Because you say, okay, I'm irritated with these people 20%, so I'm 80% loving. No. You know how you can assess that? Think of the person you love the least. As much as you've identified with that person, that is how much love there is in our heart. Suppose I love everybody, but I cannot tolerate my boss. Then as much as you love your boss, that much is the love. Or I can tolerate everybody, but I cannot tolerate my mother-in-law. She's the world's biggest pain. She's the cause of all the trouble. Then as much as I love my mother-in-law, that much is the real love in my system. So hates no being. So why do you think he must have put it ulta like that? Hates no being. Because we find ourselves loving 80-90% of the people we are in touch with. And so we think, oh, look, see what a loving person I am. But actually our love is known by that one person we dislike. One person we cannot tolerate. That one person. For the strength of a chain is its weakest link. It was a massive iron chain, okay? Massive iron chain. Steel chain, the one they used to pull the ships in. Have you seen them at the harbor? They use it to pull their ships in. The whole thing is these massive loops of steel. One of that loop, just one, is plastic. What will happen? They're useless. Whole chain becomes useless. So the strength of a chain is its weakest link. That person who you cannot love is the level of love. My God, it will take so much time over each point. I don't know when we'll finish this. So let's hurry up a bit. Hates no being, first one. Hates no being doesn't mean, oh, I don't hate anybody. But I have no affection for anybody at all. No, not that also. Friendly. For instance, do you hate anybody in Ethiopia? We don't hate anybody in Ethiopia. So are we very loving beings? No. Are we friendly? Means there's an actual feeling of oneness, compassion. Here's when you know the biggest problem with love is when you feel love for others, their joys are your joys, their sorrows are your sorrows. Now, if you look around, there's so much sorrow, so much misery, so much. People are unhappy. What are you going to do? You're going to die because the rest of the world is unhappy? What are you going to do? You feel their sorrows. Now you're seeing around you people are unhappy, miserable. I mean, the most basic needs, such as fresh drinking water, just drinking water, potable water, water which is fit for drinking, is not available to the majority of people on this planet. Do you realize the amount of people who, stepping out of their house in the morning, do not know whether they will be shocked in the course of the day? Can you believe living your life like that? You just don't know. Meaning you see your husband or your wife or your child leaving the house in the morning, you don't know whether this person is going to come back. You know, in India, we are a very fortunate lot. We have a good climate, we have a reasonably stable government, we are reasonably secluded from the rest of the world. So nobody's more or less coming and doing anything to us. Ocean protects us one end, Himalayas protect us the other end. A little infiltration going in from here and there. But just think about how much safety we live in. Imagine Bangalore. Who is going to Bangalore to do anything? And how do they even reach there? Right? But others are like in a geography where everybody is fighting with everybody. And it's not very clear who your enemy is. Because everybody is fighting with everybody. Can you imagine being part of Syria? You know which bomb is going to blow you up. Even if you lived in Japan, it's relatively safe in the sense that nobody's coming there and attacking us. But they live on a what is this thing called?
Tectonic plate, to like a ridge.
And the crack between those plates. They live there, California. So how many people in this world live in what degree of uncomfortable situation? In Africa, no clean drinking water. And the economic powers are all going there and trying to make use of their resources, keeping them in distress, making use of their resources. Now you feel a lot of affection for everybody. Will you be able to sleep at night? Thinking, my God, this fellow is suffering that fellow is suffering that. What will, it's terrible, right? If you have that affection in your heart, what are you going to do? That's what the word compassion teaches us. What is compassion? This world is full of people and beings who are suffering. And though we would like to do whatever we can to help them, which naturally we will feel like because we love them, there will always be a gap between between the amount of suffering and what you can do about that suffering. This gap that takes place between what the amount of suffering and what you can do, you can only fill that gap with compassion. What else can you do? You can feel. That's it. What else can you do? If you don't understand the gift of compassion, you will never be able to sleep again in your life. Because all your loved ones are suffering. So you can't do that, right? So you must understand that there will always be this gap between the suffering and what we can do. And for that gap, we feel compassion. Compassion is not when we can do something, when we should do that thing. Compassion is for when now we are helpless, we can't do anything. What can we do? The biggest solution to all the problems that this world faces is educating people on Vedanta. And yet, 90% of the people who need it will not study it. Only 90%. 99.99% of the people who need it will not study it. What can you do? You set up a university, you set up a course, you do this, but people have to come and do it, right? What can you do? You know a girl like that. So many. Over the years, one girl, very interesting case actually. And they had to write a book about all these various cases. She's very interested in Vedanta. Her claim, she's very interested, and she's pretty good also. She can answer questions and all that. She's a very dynamic person, and she is pretty and from a very good family, among the top families. Very interested in Vedanta. Everything is very good, and for her, Vedanta is like an antibiotic. When something goes wrong, she has to come to it and waste my time. I mean, not waste my time, but whenever there's a problem, she wants Vedantic solutions to those problems. When there is no problem, she's busy enjoying her life. She has not, now this has gone on for the last 20 years. Not 1 or 2 days, 20 years. 20 years she has passionately taken up Vedanta when she's in some terrible problem, worked very hard, gotten rid of the problem, and gotten rid of Vedanta also. Until the next time this problem arises, some problem arises, and again she's like fully into it. 20 years. And it hasn't yet occurred to her that Vedanta is not curative, it's preventive. Now, when she gets into the problem, she gets so affected, she has to actually go on medication because she is that affected with this problem. She needs the medication, otherwise she cannot handle it. That's how much pain she goes through. And therefore, that's the amount of effort she puts in. Naturally, because this much pain will require that much effort. And still it's not clear to her. Let me do this consistently and let it be a preventive rather than a cure. You see her suffering. What are you going to do? Can you tell her, you idiot? You are in the presence of this massive treasure, which you have to just do a little bit on a daily basis, and you will not come to this painful position. There is nothing you can do. Now you're starting the course, PGDM, the postgraduate course. We are starting it, but if people don't join it, can we do? Just fill that gap with compassion, because you're restricting what you can do. So compassion is the gap between the suffering you can feel and what you can do about that suffering. I mean, the suffering of others that you feel. The other problem with love is discussing only love, okay? All this time is a discussion of love. It's given 35 qualities. First 4 qualities that you are seeing has got something to do with love. Not possessive. Not possessive. When we start loving, see, nobody loves everybody all at the same time. So our circle of identification will keep growing. Let us say today, our circle of identification is this class. Wherever that circle goes, we will want to possess those people. These are my people. Those are other people. A sense of possession comes in. And my people means what? I have to tell you how you should live your life. So many people, even in the class, they say, you know what that person does? He comes and studies Vedanta, but this is what he does. Let him do what he is doing. You do what you are doing. No? Why should I do? That person is not doing it. If you want to treat that person as your ideal, treat no. You decide who is your ideal and live by that. If that person is your ideal, well, good for both of you. So that sense of possessiveness comes in. When we talk about possessiveness, whether it is reference to objects or beings, possessiveness is not the love for that object or being. Possessiveness is the sense of ownership. I own you. So if you're my child, you must take the career I say. You are my spouse, then you must do the things I say. You are my neighbor, you are my community. Community is the worst. Nobody likes to, why people like to go and stay in cities? Because they don't have to deal with their community. Because in the community, everybody wants to tell everybody how they have to live their life. So sense of possessiveness. So when we hear not possessive, very often we say, okay, get rid of everything. Not get rid of everything. To have everything, but not have any sense of ownership, any sense of possession. That is the life of a devotee. I can love you, but I don't own you. Some people go to the extent of cruelty in this possessiveness, which is, I will control the way you think. So people don't give other people the right to think their own thoughts. It's a very frightening thing, no? It must be one of the most unrecognized form of cruelty. You don't have the right to your own opinion. Why? Because I possess you, you must think as I think. So our love should not give rise to possessiveness. Free from egoism. Yes, emotional blackmailing comes in this thing. What is egoism? Egoism manifests in three ways. I am the doer. I only exist. I am supreme. I am the doer. I have done. I have achieved. Remember in the Gita how he says this is the talk of the demonic. I have done. In Vairagya Shatakam. Vairagya Shatakam is one of the three Shatakams written by Bhartrihari. The first one is Sringara Shatakam. The second one is Niti Shatakam, which I hope one day we will do. Sringara, you all can read on your own if you are interested, because we are doing Vedanta, we don't have to worry about Sringara. So, Sringara Shatakam. And then Niti Shatakam is a treatise on Niti, on ethics, on correct action. It's a wonderful book. Maybe one day we will do it. But his crowning glory is Vairagya Shatakam. And Vairagya Shatakam has got a very interesting verse where he said that chasing my desire, I have committed these sins. Okay, what are the sins he said? What are the sins we have committed? I've committed the sin of saying what I have done. It's quite shocking when you read it first time. When you give your CV for a job, are you not recounting? So I've committed the sin of recounting all my deeds, what I have done. You give a CV, I've done this. We are also trying to hire somebody, no? We've asked for CV. What have you done? So they have to write X, Y, Z, I have done. I've committed the sin of recounting my deeds. It's not about just saying it. It's about feeling that I have done this. That's why they say, in Hindi, of course, it's an abuse statement now, but they say, neki kar kuein mein dal. Let's forget that you have done anything good. Neki kar kuein mein dal. Nobody from outside India is listening. No. So, neki kar kuein mein dal means do good and throw it in the well. In the sense, forget about it. But in India, they don't treat it like that. What they mean is it's useless doing good work. That's how they interpret it. Now, the reason I'm translating Hindi is because even when I'm not seeing people from outside India listening, I know that, I am told at least, that they listen to it on YouTube later on. So we have to be careful to translate everything not English. So, non-egoistic means you don't have the burden of doership. You're able to do without feeling that you're doing. And the best way to achieve that is how do you remove the burden of devotion?
Higher goal.
What?
Higher goal.
Higher goal, yeah, that's correct. But more specifically to this point, what you're saying is right, of course. That is what Ramban Ilaj, that will cure everything. But this specifically, if you feel I'm doing so much and you feel that burden of doership, the best way of dealing with it is,
Recognition of the ignorance.
yeah, but then why will your doership go away?
Because we know that it's not just our action, but everything combined that is
You don't know who
bringing
you're
about the
asking.
result. Yeah.
Yes, okay, fine. That's a possible way. But the easiest way is
Not focusing on the result.
not focusing on the result, okay. But
Dedicating to the higher.
Surrender.
Midland said, no?
It is ought to be done.
Remembering we are receiving so much.
Okay. Simplest, easiest. If
To
I-
feel love,
Huh?
to feel love, affection.
Love, affection, okay. Simplest, easiest thing to do is feeling the mm, the weight of how much I do. You know, the simplest, easiest thing, do more. If you have time to think about how much you do, you've got spare time. So please just work a little harder. You're not working hard enough. Easiest thing. Just do some more. Feeling of doership. How do you know you have a feeling of doership? Easiest way to know whether we have a feeling of doership. Easiest way. I tell you, easiest way.
Thinking about.
We, human beings have one amazing ability. No other animal has it, but human beings have this amazing ability. They can lie to themselves. They cannot see the most obvious. I mean, it is nothing about themselves is obvious to them. Oh, some power gifty to see ourselves as others see us, said the great Robert Burns. He wrote this beautiful poem called On a Louse. He went to church one day, and when he went to church, there was a louse walking on the bonnet of a lady. Now that is a very embarrassing thing, right? But this lady doesn't know that this louse is walking on her bonnet. So she is in church. She is like, oh, I'm so great, I'm in church. But actually, there's this louse walking over there. So he writes a poem on that. Beautiful poem. Please read it. Oh, would some power, oh, wad some power gifty gias. That's the Scottish version. You will, of course, find it in Scottish, but they give the English version also. And say, oh, that some power, that gift would give us to see ourselves as others see us. So these humans are fantastic at not seeing themselves as others see them. They have this amazing ability. We can lie to ourselves. So we can say, oh, I have no sense of doership. I am so non-attached to anything I do. We can say all this stuff. Easy way of knowing whether you have doership. Easy way of knowing. Easiest way of knowing.
How do you react to not getting credit?
Oh, very good. Nine, very good. You have been accepted into the course. How you react if you are criticized for it. If you're not given the credit for it, how will you react? See, agitation is a good way for us because agitation we recognize. So when suppose a lady makes some dal and then her husband says there is no salt in this dal, and she then picks up the dal and throws it on him, then you know she has doership. Okay, very upset. How dare you say my dal has no? You like when that lady cooks. When Mrs. Kapoor cooks, you are very happy. When I cook, you say, Baba, where did Mrs. Kapoor come into this thing? The moment there is no dal and no salt in this dal. So how we react when we are criticized is the easiest way to know our level of devotion. Okay, that's the first. Too much detail, no, of this. I tried to do it quickly, but even then you have raised a lot of detail. And second way the ego functions in us is I am supreme. Means my desires are supreme. That day at night, 11:30, 12 at night, both of us woke up. Like dham, dham, dham going on our ceiling. What happened over here? Like, an emergency. And then there was a drill and dham, 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 11:30 at night. And what do you do at that time? You may want to practice your carpentry skills, but other people also are there in this place. People have these, in these buildings, some people buy ground floors because then you have a nice sit out and a garden, and so it sounds so glamorous. 20 floors above, these guys start throwing things down. And all your glamorous garden and the feeling of, oh, I have a nice garden to sit outside in Mumbai and all, big deal. A junkyard, you don't know if you sit there, what is going to fall on your head? So, how important am I? Somehow to me, I am more important than you. I am supreme. In the airport, you see this. You are standing nicely in the queue. One guy will come and say, oh, my plane is leaving. So once I was at the airport and I have to catch a plane. He said, I have to catch a plane. No, it's a girl actually. I have to catch a plane, let me go. So one other girl standing there said, तो हम क्यों आए हैं? हम क्या train के लिए आए हैं? He said, why are we here? We are also here to catch a plane only. Have we come to catch a train? But that belief, I am supreme. My needs should come before your needs. If you are so keen on catching your plane, you like us, please leave your house early. No, you will leave your house late and then expect everybody else to coordinate and allow you to catch your plane. So this is that concept of I am supreme. But it is still better than the concept of I alone exist. I alone exist means I have not recognized that you are there. I don't know that you are there. And you see that when that man is doing his carpentry, whatever it is, at 11:30 at night, or the kids are chatting outside your bedroom window at 2:30 at night, it's not that they are being inconsiderate. It's not that they're thinking you'll be disturbed and who cares. No. They don't know that you will be disturbed. I alone exist. That thought has not occurred to them. So you say, I am supreme, at least I know you exist, and I say I'm more important. I only exist means I don't know you exist. You have not entered my scheme of affairs at all. All these are the manifestations of the ego. It's okay, but in this case, it's the ego that says, I alone exist, and we all suffer from this. And you know why we suffer from this? Because it is our unconscious recognition of the fact that we are the self. Because the self is the doer, the self is supreme, and the self alone exists. unfortunately, we attribute those qualities of the self to this body, mind, intellect. And when we do that, it's called ego. But the fact of the matter is, it is true that I am the doer, that I am supreme, and that I alone exist. I'm just attributing it to the wrong side of my personality. This conversion of our original nature to a false nature is what is known as ego. We take the attributes of our own nature and apply it to the wrong nature, to the false nature. This falsity of superimposition is what is the ego, where you have made the universal into an individual. Okay, so that's